Steve Walls here alongside Darren Smith. Good evening. I guess it would be good evening because
late afternoon.
it's been a long day. But Steve Walls here alongside Darren Smith. We're here live inside of Caesars Superdome, New Orleans, Louisiana. Darren, man, preseason game number one. What are your initial thoughts?
Initial thought was Chris Jones is sitting back just waiting on the phone to ring with a new contract extension to go. You know, when he saw that first team defense, couple of drives, and give up 2 touchdowns. So they had a hard time getting after the quarterback and stopping the run. That's what I thought initially early on. Offensively, I mean, they didn't do anything. I mean, you know, the starting offense, Mahomes and them. I know they went for it on 4th and 1. I thought initially that they made the first down just on 3rd down, and even then we thought that you know, when Blake Bill did the whole sneak stuff, we thought he made it then, and you know they still shorted him. So it was disappointing, but it was good to see the offense in the second and third unit continue to press on it, and you know and. We saw what the offense looks like without Mahomes. We know what the offense needs with Mahomes, but overall, you know, it's something that they can grow off of, take away, and some positive things because they did fight back. They did take the lead. Obviously, late 4th quarter interception, and their return for them to get the field goal or whatever, you know, put them in winning position. But you know, overall, I'd say a B- in today's effort.
B-.
And that'd be because of how they fought back to actually take the lead, defensively, you know, with the second and third and fourth teamers.
And you talked about how they started. Justin Reed, we talked to him in the locker room post game, and he said that that's one of the things that they'll work on, you know, because they talk about building days, stacking days together, you know, before the regular season. And he talked about just starting sooner, starting faster. And I think that's one of the things that they're going to carry over from last year, because remember at the beginning of the season, they were, you know, kind of starting slower. It take till the second half. They were a second half team.
Yeah, but the defense been like that every year though.
Yeah.
To where
offense
you know,
too.
Yeah. But most of the defense to where normally, you know, Andy likes to kick the ball in the first, so the defense is always out on the field first. So generally, that's when, if the opposing team, you know, your 15 plays, you want to go down and try to score right away. So that's where they need to work. That's what they need to work on. Is where they need to get better. And also, talking Spags, one of the things he said going into this game, he wants to see how well the defense tackles. And if the defense isn't tackling well, then they kind of got to go back to the beginning. So initially, that's what I saw in the first couple of drives with the starting unit. I saw Justin Reed miss a tackle. I saw I think Joshua Williams missed a tackle early on. Now he did have a good play initially on the first and goal against Michael Thomas, but then the next play, you know, they end up getting a touchdown. But like I said, there's a lot of things that they need to improve on, that they can improve on with. Of course, this is what preseason's for. No reason to really overreact because, you know, they only played the first quarter.
Let's talk about positive things. First, the second team, third team, and on the offensive side of the ball, what did you see from some of those guys? Because I'll go first. What I saw was we got to see the hype of Justin Ross, and because he's been hyped up, and Richie James as well. And we got to see a little bit of Rashee Rice as well. So, I mean, you look at those 3 guys. Those are 3 guys, and they're all a part of the receiving group.
Yeah,
right. So I feel like we got to see them have a little success, you know, especially to young guys, because they need that, you know, going forward.
When it comes to Justin Ross in particular, I think it was great for him mentally. You got to remember, you know, signed as a college rookie, as a college free agent or rookie free agent last offseason. Didn't get a chance to play at all. Was on the IR because of his foot injury. And so for him to be able to battle back, to get on the field and to be on this particular playing field, you know, I mean, it meant a lot for him because, you know, that's a lot of mental stuff, mental hurt that you got to overcome to not only get yourself back, but also play with the confidence that you're not worried about coming back out here and getting hurt. And so, yeah, no, it was big time for him. I think, you know, Rashee Rice, you know, I mean, we looked at it like, I mean, he played well, and we talked about it in the pregame. These players being able to get a chance to play with Mahomes early on. Now, it was only the opening series for Mahomes, but at least like Rice got in there. I think he was in there on the second play of the game, so that was important. And we talked about the other gentleman,
Richie James.
Richie James. I mean. He looked good in the third quarter when you know, obviously the long 43-yard catch that he had, and then the touchdown, he was wide open. I think, you know, I think if you're a Chiefs fan and you want to see what the receivers look like, first of all, you saw what they look like with backup quarterbacks. Imagine with Patrick Mahomes out there.
Of course. And you mentioned Richie James. Richie James is we looking at this Chiefs, we see them through a microscope, right?
Yeah.
We get to see them not from 30,000 feet up. And there's always a method to Brett Veach and company's madness, right?
Yeah.
Like Richie James is, I would say, comparing him, if I had to compare him to someone on the team already, it's Kadarius Toney. Let's just say that they don't have Kadarius Toney for a little while. They have Richie James.
It's interesting because that's where I was going, and we forgot to talk about KT earlier, but I was thinking about to the point, if KT is somehow not ready for week number 1, you saw someone like Richie James and step up and play well. And it's interesting because someone, I posted a little meme about his stats in catching a touchdown. He talked about how well he played with the Giants last year. So. Whatever it is that the Giants aren't doing, the Chiefs will find a way to utilize their talent that they kind of gave up on. And so it's going to be real big for the offense, going to be real big for Kansas City Chiefs fans. And again, I mean, you just look at it and look, even Cornell Powell, people kind of forget he's a rookie that they drafted, I think, back in 2020, 2021. And so he got some good reps today, played well. And so, overall, like I said, they did come away with the loss, but to be able to battle back when they were down 17-0 says a lot about this team. And
you talked about battling back. One of the sides of the ball that had to, hold the Saints was the defense.
Yeah.
Talk about the young guys. We mentioned Felix Uzama, right?
Yeah.
From Kansas City. How well do you think he played?
Honestly, I didn't get a chance to really watch him much because I was watching most of the linebackers. Because I would tell you, I was shocked how long Leo Chanel was in the ball game. Yeah. He was the last starter that was in there for a minute. But then I'm also looking at the defensive backfield because they were just throwing the football all around. So I wanted to see how the tackling and stuff like that was. One of the things that did concern me was the fact that I didn't see enough pressure put on the quarterback. Now they did end up getting some sacks on Winston and the quarterback that played after him. So. Again, room for improvement. There is a big difference, and I told you around halftime. I'm in the lunch line with Brett Veach, and I looked at him. We shook, dapped, hugged, and I just looked at him like, some things don't need to be said. So, and I said to say that we see what the offense looks like without Mahomes. And to an extent, Kelsey, because Kelsey also was out after the opening drive. But we also see what the defense was like without Chris Jones. Now, you and I, we're under the impression he just doesn't want to show up for training. And that's fine. Even preseason 26, because Kelsey on the bench was looking like, man, can we hurry up and get out of here? So, so I get that as a veteran. But it is still noticeable, when you don't have that defensive presence out there. And Chris Jones' absence was still noticeable. Granted, preseason, game number 1. But you still don't want to see, especially the starting defense going up against the second team offense and still get a touchdown ran down the throat.
So you gave them a B as a whole. Before we wrap this up, B minus as a whole. Before we wrap this up, Chiefs fans are going to want to know, should they be concerned? No Chris Jones. The offense struggled. Preseason game number 1. I say no. I say no as well. I say because it is preseason. Like, I mean, you got one series out of Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, to be honest. Well,
and remember, I know even though Mahomes didn't score a touchdown in the opening drive against Chicago last year, they still lost the game. Still went on to win the Super Bowl.
Not only that, but they did do a on 4th and 1 on the Saints side of the ball, right? Like they went for it. Like Andy in the first quarter, Andy would never do that.
Look, and you've talked about it like. You do something that everybody know that you're going to do, especially when you kind of did it. You saw Blake Bill come around and what was crazy was he comes around underneath the center, and it's not like they just hurried up and hiked the ball. So it's like, well, hell, everybody knows what you're going to do now. Yeah. So it's like,
And Colin Saunders, was the starting.
Hold on, with Clyde,
and Colin Saunders was a starting defensive tackle, for the New Orleans Saints. Played in Kansas City the last 4 years. Yeah. Right, friend of the show. He came on the field. He was excited because he knew he always saw it the past few years, so he knew it was going to come. It was coming.
So if you know how to prepare for it. But like you said, and there's no cause for concern. What you want to do for Andy, especially with those players, you got to get them out. You got to get them out the game and into the season without any injuries, and that's essentially what they did.
Tyrann Mathieu, another guy that we got a chance to see. Yeah. What do you see from him?
He still got it. I still think, as much as we love him, I still think the Chiefs made a good move and moving off from him and bringing Justin Reed. I mean, sometimes, marriages, relationships just don't last. I mean, and he played 3 years. I mean, the Chiefs paid him his contract, and so he made a lot of money here in Kansas City and won a world championship. So happy for him.
Me too. All right, folks, we appreciate you joining us today. I guess we're on Central Time, so it's 4:00. You're getting ready to pack it in and start your work week. So we appreciate you guys hanging out with us just a little bit after the game today. Remember, next week you can catch us in Phoenix, Arizona. The last time we were in Arizona, we saw the confetti ringing down.
I might still have some at the house. I might have to just bring it so we can, celebrate all over again.
Yep. So catch us next week. This time it'll be on Saturday. It'll be Saturday at 7 p.m.
7 p.m. local Central Time. So I guess I can't remember.
It's 5 p.m. It's 5 p.m. Yep.
Oh,
So catch us out there. We'll be bringing you everything Kansas City Chiefs football. Remember, you can catch us during the week. Follow myself at Steve Walls KC. You can follow Darren Smith at Darren Smith WHB on all social media platforms. For Steve Walls, Darren Smith, we are out of here.